You are listening to the Manumit Podcast. My name is Casey, and I'm here with my buddy Glenn Johnson, investment advisor and founder of Jabez Financial right here in the Uncasville area. Retirement, we know it's not just a financial transition. It is truly a life transition. And an article I saw in USA Today raised a few questions that you should actually ask yourself before you retire. They said the first is, what does a day in retirement look like to you? And if you cannot answer that, the writers say that you need to start thinking about it. So I'm curious, Glenn, when you see people make the transition into retirement, how long does it usually take people to kind of hit their stride and find that new rhythm, find that new normal? And for people who are the happiest in retirement that you see, what do those people have in common?
You know, a great place to start is defining an ideal day. Because defining an ideal day is the very essence of creating a spectacular life. You know, and the greatest obstacle people have to enjoying a really great life is actually knowing what one would look like for you. Mm-hmm. You know, what looks like a great day for me is would be treacherous for somebody else, and vice versa.
Yeah, you want to be shoveling in the snow, not me.
See, that does not make sense to a lot of people. I get it, but it works for me. Yeah. So we start with looking at a day, you know, and you know what a difference a day makes, right? So let's start with that. When would you like to wake up? Who would you like to be with? What activities would you want to have in your day? Where would you like to go? Or how would you like to make the lives of those you love better? You know, we really want to put the components to what makes an ideal day great. And here's the thing. You don't have to wait until retirement to enjoy and love every day of your life. You know, you can create the life you want to live right now. You know, I'm happy to, like I said, I wake up every morning and I love my life, and I'm 51. So I've got decades ahead of me that I still get to work and do more things, but I don't wake up dreading any day. When you create the life you want to live, when you have the opportunity to retire your job, like, okay, I don't need this job anymore, right? Now you just have even more opportunities to enjoy life that much more. Recognize that when living well, life gets better month after month and year after year because we're getting better. And with every season in life brings with it new opportunities. And even what you find fun changes. You know, I remember like my dad loved golfing, and then he got to the point physically where he couldn't golf anymore, but he was never depressed about it because he golfed when he could. And then when he couldn't, he didn't mind because he didn't want to do it anymore because you don't miss what you don't want, right? Well, when I was a boy, I mean, I don't want to do the same things that I found fun when I was a boy, right. but I'm glad I did them when I was a kid, right. Or even the things that I found fun in my 20s and 30s. Well, I'm not interested in those things anymore, but I'm glad I did those things at that point in life. Yeah. So what happens is when preparing for the next season in life before we get there, by the time we get there, we will enjoy it that much more. It's a matter of preparing for the next season before we get there so that when the opportunities present themselves, we're able to take that vacation, we're able to take that trip or make those charitable donations or have the time to be there with our grandchildren. When we plan for it in advance, life gets better when we get there.
So when people start to think about that, what they want their days to look like, how they want to live this next season of their life, I'm curious what you hear the most often when you open up that conversation with your clients.
You know, it's funny. Usually the first thing that comes out of people's mouths is, you know, I just don't want to have this financial stress anymore. They're worried about their finances.
That's the number one response?
That's the first thing. And wow. You know what? It's to me, it's almost heartbreaking because...
Right. I'm surprised and I'm a little sad.
Yeah, because it's an intangible thing like money that doesn't love you back that affects your joy, your emotional experience. It's like, this is just a thing. Why does money have that much influence over how much joy I have every day? Well, it's because when the financial circumstances aren't adequately cared for, it will then negatively affect the things that you do care about. So if you currently have financial worries, what it means is that the financial plan you have isn't working. It's simple. A financial plan will eliminate the financial worries and stresses that we have. And so if we have some financial stresses or worries or concerns, the plan we have, it isn't working.
Well, that was kind of my next question. What are people really saying under the surface when they tell you their number one goal is to eliminate their financial worry? What does that really mean underneath the surface? What does that translate to?
What that translates to is they want to have confidence in their plan so that they don't have to think about money. See, very few people really wake up and get excited and are happy thinking about money. Very, very few people, because our human nature is to love people and not things. And when it all comes down to it, how much money you have, nobody really cares. Nobody cares how big of a house you live in or how fancy your car is. None of that matters. But what people want is connection and relationship. People want to feel included. But when finances are a problem or when they're not in order, it negatively affects and negatively impacts almost every other aspect of life. And it's a simple fix. It's not that hard to construct a financial plan that will eliminate the financial worries and concerns that you have. The worries they're usually because people don't see with certainty how their financial plan is going to enable them to live the way they want to live. So sometimes somebody may have a plan. They may have more than enough assets accumulated and be in fantastic shape, but they're still worried because they don't see it. They don't see how it's actually going to work. I remember I had a client, he had passed away, but he had many millions of dollars. And he had, like I said, a couple of homes that were paid for, affluent guy. But he worried about outliving his money even into his mid-80s with cancer. Wow. So he wasn't doing well, but he was still concerned because he never grasped how secure he really was. So it's not just a matter of constructing the plan, but it's also helping you understand it simply enough so that you can say, you know what, I've got what I need here.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, you say the number one goal of people when they sit down with you, they want to eliminate that financial worry, which is kind of translation. They want to create that peace of mind for themselves. So I'm curious, what do you see most people get wrong when they try to eliminate that financial worry or create that peace of mind on their own? They're trying to DIY this. Where are they misstepping?
Well, a lot of times they go back to what they learned. Well, you got to take risks to make money. So therefore, they kind of psych themselves up by saying, all right, if I want to eliminate this financial stress, well, if I want my account to grow, I've got to assume more risk. So they kind of talk themselves into exposing themselves to unnecessary financial risk because of their desire for financial security. But it's actually counterproductive. It's counterproductive. They may see their account grow, maybe even really quickly in the beginning. So they start to feel good about their decision. But in the back of their head, they still always know it can go in the other direction. So even on paper, although their assets have increased in value, so has their stress because they know that it's also subject to go the other way. When they're using some robo-advisor or some cookie-cutter financial plan that's just reaffirming their actions of just keeps maintaining the same moderate to aggressive, diversified portfolio and plugging along and realizing that if I'm in here for the long run, everything's going to work out really well. That incorrect opinion can get reaffirmed by people that want to keep you invested. Like I said, I'm not opposed to the market. I use it. We've got lots of money there. However, we're going about it responsibly and we're not putting people's retirement income at risk in the process.
Glenn, as always, thank you so much for breaking it down for us today. You and I will be back next week, same time, same place, with more retirement insight. But until then, I'm going to throw it back over to you to take us out today.
Okay. I'd like to say if retirement is right around the corner for you, or even if you've recently retired, we can make sure that you have a plan that doesn't just put you on track, but keeps you on track so that you can experience the retirement of your dreams.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Manumit Podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts so that you never miss an episode, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Investment advisory services offered through Jabez Financial, LLC, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Glenn Johnson, Connecticut Insurance, license number 4628409. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Jabez Financial, LLC. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Jabez Financial, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Jabez Financial, LLC is licensed in your state, please call 860-390-0093.